Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation on the hydroponics. I would like to talk about why I think the hydroponics will be the future of our agriculture and how it works. And then I will use a business case to explain in details all the factors in the hydroponic system. So we all know that the conventional farming is no longer sustainable. We need far more land than we have right now to support the increasing population. And in addition, we have been using more and more pesticides and herbicides, which cause all kinds of problems. On top of that, the Mother Nature hasn't been always working in our favor. So what should we do? Well, thanks to the technology and innovations, hydroponics has been practiced in many countries. It's soil-free, is growing in the controlled environment. It eliminates the risk of pathogens, pests, and weeds, and it reduces the water usage by over 85%, and it provides a way to optimize the food flavor and the productivity. And depends on whether you recirculate the nutrient solution. There are either a static system or a dynamic system. Let's focus on the dynamic one because it's more complex and is widely used in the commercial farms. So the first type is ebb and flow. It's very simple and efficient. You have the plants import all the rock wool cubes and you set them on the growing bed. Then you pump this nutrient solution into the growing bed and flood the block from the bottom. So you could push the oxygen poor air out. And then when the nutrient solution reaches a set level, the overflow pipe will drain the excess and it will then draw the oxygen-rich air back into contact with the roots. Another type is the NFT. It's very commonly used for the plants with a stronger root system. The nutrient solution is constantly aerated and flows down the inclined gullet over the roots. And you typically will cover the gullet to keep the high humidity and keep the lice from the roots. And the last type is the aeroponic system. It's actually my favorite one. You have this plant suspended with the roots hanging loose and then mixed with the oxygen-rich nutrient solution. This nutrient solution is constantly sprayed into the air to create 100% humidity in the chamber. And among all those hydroponic systems, aeroponics is proved to be using the minimum volume of the water and offer the highest performance. Well, no matter what system we choose to use, there are some basic factors we always need to consider. Growing media, lighting, nutrient, and the growing environment control. I would like to use a business case to explain how these factors work. AeroFarms is a successful aeroponic farm in New Jersey. They started back around 2004. They specialize in the leafy veggies and herbs. Now that they have about 70,000 square foot farm with annual capacity of 2 million pounds. They have developed their own patent material. They have been selling to New York and New Jersey customers. They are invested by Goldman Sachs and Prudential Financials. So let's take a look at what AeroFarms has been doing to address the key factors of a hydroponic system. Let's begin with the growing media. We all know that growing media provide the support for the plant. We always need to consider whether this material we use is durable, reusable, easy for sanitation, and designed for operation efficiency, and if it's cost effective. So AeroFarm, they actually test out numerous materials and eventually they developed this reusable cloth media out of the PBA-free recycled plastic. On the left corner of the slides, you can see this picture. The fabric is actually can hold the seeds as they germinate, and they keep the plants upright as they mature. The roots can extend below the cloth so they can be sprayed with the water and nutrient solutions. And it works as a very good barrier between the mist and the plant. So the air farm, they can harvest a dry and clean product in a very efficient way. It just saves a lot of labor cost. And then after the harvest, the cloth can be sanitized and reused. And now that this growing medium has been patented by the air farm. And most hydroponic systems are indoors, right? So the lighting is very important. We're very lucky that nowadays the LED lighting is very mature. So the air farm was able to customize their LED lighting based on the plant species and the growing stage. They create a specific light recipe for each growing lot and giving them exactly the spectrum, the intensity, and the frequency the plant needs. So it allows more vigorous growth in a very shorter period. They typically can deliver to their customer in less than 2 weeks after seeding. Lastly, let's talk about the control environment. Because we are growing them indoors and in a controlled environment, meaning we need to measure and control every aspect of this environment. Nutrient, CO2, humidity, temperature, lighting, everything. So AeroFarm installed a monitor system and integrated with the centralized computer system, basically to monitor and optimize the plant growth. For example, in order to monitor the nutrient, they measure the concentrations and the volumes of input and output. And then the computer will just calculate this nutrient uptake rate for each lot at each growing stage. And then it will create a program to feed the nutrients at just the right rate. So they won't have the waste and they won't have the malnutrition veggies. Another example is how they control this humidity level. So when the monitor captures some large water droplets on the roots, it will just trigger this computer to review their feeding cycle and pause cycle and then make the real-time adjustment. So the computerized system is always scalable and enabled air farms to take the exact same seed from the field and grow it in half the time as a traditional field farm. And it gives them the 130 times more productivity per square foot than a commercial field farm. So all these factors sounds great, but it sounds very expensive, right? What about the overheads? Well, Air Farm give us a good examples. First of all, the plants are stacked in trays, so they maximize the space utilization. And the company used a repurposed old building in a very cheap industrial area. It's cheap, but it's close to their primary market, the New York City. So actually, by choosing this location, they reduce the shipping cost and the lead time, and they get very good competition advantage. And we also remember that patent growing clothes made out of the recycled plastic, right? They managed to promote this green urban farming concept with their local government, and they got a big tax cut. So they have this good business concept with patent growing medium, and they have very mature technology support, and they make sure to grab this stable market demand, and they have showcased a great business model with sound financial perspective. So eventually they won over major investors like the Goldman Sachs and the Prudential Financial. And there has been numerous hydroponic farms in this country in the past decades. Most of them are on vegetables, herbs, and small fruit trees. And some of them have been gone by now. For example, the farm here in Chicago, it used to be the #1, the nation's largest vertical farm. Unfortunately, it was closed this January 2017. However, the successful story like the Aero Farms makes me believe that hydroponics still provides a lot of solutions, and eventually I believe you will be able to reshape the agriculture landscape. So thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy this topic as much as I do. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me the email. Thank you.